Postgame show on the Padres Radio Network. Coming up, we'll deliver a full recap of today's game, including highlights from the biggest moments. Listen to Craig Stammen's postgame comments. Plus, we'll bring you today's play of the game. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
And Anduhar hits it in the air deep to left field. Hernandez backing up. He's at the wall. This one gonna go! Miguel Anduhar with his fourth of the year. And the Padres take a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the first.
Sometimes one is all you need. The Padres beat the LA Dodgers in this series opener here at Petco Park. Final score on this Monday night, the Padres 1 and the Dodgers 0. Miguel Anduhar, the second batter the Padres sent to the plate in this game, a solo home run against Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and the Padres win it by the final score of 1-0. Aside from the swing by Anduhar, this game was all about the Padres pitching. Michael King, a stellar performance, 7 shutout innings. He struck out a season-high 9. And then Jason Adam, Mason Miller walking the tightrope in the 8th and the 9th. It got dangerous, but the Padres found a way to shut the door. Mason Miller now 15 for 15 in save opportunities. Michael King gets the win, and the Padres jump into first place in the National League West as they beat the Dodgers here tonight by a score of 1-0. I caught up with Miguel Anduhar on the field moments ago.
Well, Miguel, the Padres got 1 run tonight. You provided it against Yoshinobu Yamamoto. How were you able to get such a good swing against Yamamoto in the first inning?
I mean, it was good, like, take this swing. I got this guy, like, one of the best pitchers in the league, so I think thank God for that.
He threw you a splitter on 2-2. Were you looking for it?
I mean, no, but thank God, I was seeing for something like in the middle and tried to hit the ball hard.
Michael King, what a performance. 7 shutout innings. He was terrific. What was it like watching Michael from the dugout tonight?
I mean, it was amazing, like throw 7 innings against a very good team like the Dodgers, It's amazing for us, I think everybody in the bullpen did a really good job today.
The Dodgers had some threats in the late innings. Jason able to get out of a big jam. Mason able to get out of a huge jam. What's it like when those guys are doing what they're doing out of the bullpen?
I mean, it was good. Fun to watch. I think that's why, they one of the best bullpen in the league. So, I mean, that's good for the team, try to help the team win games.
I know it's only the middle of May, but this is a big series against the Dodgers. What's the significance of starting this series with a win?
I mean, it's fun, playing against the Dodgers is fun, like the energy is fun, team, try to keep winning.
Miguel, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
That was Miguel Anduhar right after tonight's 1-0 win. Miguel, the home run, a solo shot against Yoshinobu Yamamoto in the first inning, and it stood up. The Padres pitching made it stand up in this game as the Padres get their first 1-0 win against the Dodgers since April of 2008. How about that? First 1-0 win against the LA Dodgers since April of 2008, and the Padres get it here in 2026 tonight. Another note for you that just really speaks volumes as to how good, how impressive Padres pitching was tonight, how impressive Michael King was tonight. We talked in the pregame about the Dodgers offense being red hot coming in, 40 runs combined in their last 5 games. That's 8 runs per game, and you would not know it here tonight. Michael King was outstanding. Jason Adam got in a big jam. Mason Miller got in a big jam in the 9th inning. We will get into all of it, but at the end of the day, the Padres put up a 0 on the scoreboard in the Dodger run department, and the Padres get a big series win. They jump into first place in the National League West. When we come back on our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show, we have all the radio highlights for you. We'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen coming up a little bit later as well. Padres beat the Dodgers on one heck of a Monday night here in downtown San Diego. Padres 1, Dodgers 0. Our post-game coverage continues after this.
Hi, I'm Tina Howard.
Padres win it on this Monday night against the LA Dodgers by a score of 1-0. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. As we wrap this one up, the Padres have won 4 in a row. They jump into first place in the National League West, and the Padres get one really nice win here tonight. So much to discuss in what was a 1-0 game at the end of the night. Miguel Anduhar, the big swing. We will recap this game in its entirety in just a moment. As always, our post-game coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. Hey, player, need a little me time? Jamul Spa was just named one of the top 100 spas in America. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. We'll go downstairs, hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen coming up in just a little bit, so stay tuned for that. But first, let's recap how it went down on this Monday night in downtown San Diego.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
Felt like a big night at Petco Park. Padres and Dodgers first meeting of 2026. Michael King pitched the scoreless first inning. In the bottom half, Yoshinobu Yamamoto took the mound for LA. The second batter that Yamamoto faced was Miguel Anduhar.
And Anduhar hits it in the air deep to left field. Hernandez backing up. He's at the wall. This one gonna go! Miguel Anduhar with his 4th of the year. And the Padres take a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the first.
Miguel Anduhar, a big swing. He continues to do great things for this ball club. His 4th home run of the season. Padres had a 1-0 lead after 1. It would stay 1-0 for a while because this marquee pitching matchup was really as advertised early on. Aside from Yamamoto giving up the early home run, King was totally dialed in. He struck out 2 in the second, 2 more in the third, 1 more in the fourth, and in the 5th inning, Michael King continued to roll.
0-2 pitch. Muncy takes at the knee. Strike 3 called, and Michael King strikes out the side. Numbers 7, 8, and 9 here in the 5th inning, a new season high.
Through 5 innings, 9 strikeouts for Michael King. But the thing was, Yamamoto also really had settled in. He gave up just the single between the 2nd and the 5th, 5 innings of 1-run ball. Padres still led just 1-0 going to the 6th inning. King allowed a leadoff single to Andy Pages, but he was immediately erased on a 4-6-3 double play off the bat of Teoscar Hernandez. But the Dodgers kept pressing. Hesong Kim singled. Shohei Ohtani then hit a little roller towards the third base side. Rodolfo Duran fielded it, but threw wild to first base. Fernando Tatis Jr. raced to go get it down the right field line. Kim rounded third. He nearly broke for home, but he slammed on the brakes and stayed at third base, and that ended up being significant because with runners on first and third, King got a pop out for Mookie Betts, and the inning was over. Yamamoto retired the side in order in the bottom of the 6th inning. King went back to work in the top of the 7th inning, stole 1-0 Padre lead with 1 out and Kyle Tucker on first base. Tucker stole second, so the tying run in scoring position, but then King bounced back to get a pop out from Will Smith. He got a deep fly out from Max Muncy, and the inning was over. 7 shutout innings for Michael King. He left in line for the win. The Padres still up just 1-0. Yamamoto pitched the scoreless 7th inning. We were still tied at 1. We went to the 8th inning. Jason Adam came on. He got the first 2 outs of that top of the 8th inning, but then Hesong Kim walked. Shohei Ohtani singled. That sent Kim to third base. The tying and go-ahead runs were on base for Mookie Betts.
0-1 to Betts. Here's the pitch. Hard hit on the ground, right to Bogarts. It short from his knees. He throws to second in time. Ohtani is forced out, and the inning is over.
Jason Adam escaping a big-time jam. We went to the 9th inning. Padres still leading just 1-0, and in came Mason Miller looking for his 15th save of the season, and he had to face a tough part of the Dodger lineup. Freeman, Tucker, Smith, 3-4-5. And early on, Mason Miller just did not have his command. He walked Freddie Freeman, he walked Kyle Tucker, and just like that, the tying and go-ahead runs on base with nobody out. But then Will Smith flew out to center. Max Muncy was called out on strikes for out number 2. Runners on first and second, 2 men away. The Padres up 1-0. The game left up to the Dodgers, Andy Pages.
Miller centered the belt. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Lajes reaches for it, grounds it to third base. Machado's got it. He's just going to tag, call out, and the ball game is over. What a night at Petco. Michael King, 7 shutout innings. Adam and Miller close the door, and the Anduhar homer. Second batter in the bottom of the first holds up as the Padres shut out the Dodgers 1-0.
You expect these type of games when these two teams meet. This did not disappoint. What a terrific pitching performance on both sides. Miguel Anduhar solo shot holds up. Padres take game 1.
Baseball at its best.
An absolutely terrific ball game here tonight at Petco Park, and the Padres come out victorious 1-0 against the LA Dodgers. The Padres have won 4 in a row. They move to 29-18 on the season. They jump into first place, now a half game ahead of the Dodgers in the NL West. Yes, it is only mid-May, but you know what? Tonight felt pretty good. The Padres win it 1-0. Final totals here tonight for the Padres: 1 run, 4 hits, 1 error. For the Dodgers, no runs, 5 hits, and no errors. The winning pitcher tonight, well deserved for Michael King. He went 7 scoreless innings, goes to 4-2 on the season. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who gave up just 1 run in 7 really strong innings, he gets the loss today. He drops to 3-4. And Mason Miller, and we'll get into this as our post-game show rolls along, who did not have his command at all at the start of that 9th inning. Well, somehow Mason Miller maneuvers his way to his 15th save of the season, a 0.82 ERA at the end of the night for Mason Miller in front of a sold-out crowd here at Petco Park. What a ball game, what a win, and the Padres just continue to find ways to win. We've said it so many times. Where would they be without Miguel Anduhar? Where would they be without Gavin Sheets? Where would they be without Ty France? Where would they be without Nick Castellanos? And really, where would they be without Michael King, Jason Adam, and Mason Miller, who made that solo home run by Anduhar, the second Padre batter of the game? They made it stand up here tonight. A great win as the Padres win this series opener. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. Much more to do on our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show. You're listening to the Padres Radio Network.
You're listening to the Jamul.
Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as the Padres win it 1-0 against the LA Dodgers in this series opener. What a ball game. We'll hear from Craig Stammen in just a moment, so stay tuned for that. As always, our post-game coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. Hey player, the rooftop pool's open, day passes are available, and the spa is calling your name. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. I'll tell you what, about as entertaining of a 1-0 game as I think you can draw up when you consider the starting pitching. I mean, this was a marquee pitching matchup tonight, no doubt about it, between Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Michael King. We knew it would be that way tonight, and it totally lived up to the billing. I mean, King was just a little bit better than Yamamoto. King didn't make the big mistake, and Yamamoto did, giving up the home run to Miguel Anduhar in the first inning, and that made all the difference. And then you had King getting out of trouble in the 7th inning, Jason Adam escaping trouble in the 8th inning, Mason Miller getting out of a huge jam in the 9th inning, 2 on, nobody out. The Dodgers in this game went a combined 0-for-7 with runners in scoring position, and all those at-bats came in the 6th inning on. 0-for-7 with runners in scoring position, and they left 7 on base. And I'll say it again, we talked about it pregame. The Dodgers offense, and they had been quiet for a lot of this early part of the season, but the Dodgers offense, they had been red hot coming into this series. 40 runs scored during a 5-game win streak, which comes to an end here tonight. And Michael King made it look like, I mean, you would never know it with the way the Dodgers looked against Michael King. I mean, that was for a regular season start, and we've seen some great performances for Michael King. That was about as dominant as we've seen him in a regular season game, and we've seen great outings, but that's right up there tonight against this lineup who had been red hot coming in. For him to go out there tonight in what felt like a big early season game and go do what he did, 7 shutout innings, and just dominate through 5 innings, and then wiggle his way out of trouble in the 6th inning, wiggle his way out of trouble in the 7th inning. It was remarkably impressive. And then Jason Adam, Mason Miller doing what the Padres bullpen does. And was it easy? No. But at the end of the day, scoreless 8th, scoreless 9th, and in a 1-0 game, that was plenty good enough. Let's go downstairs here at Petco Park and here's some post-game reaction.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
What adjustments did you see from Mason after he walked the first 2?
It's just one of those things. An elite player just bared down and decided I'm going to take over. He did. I think the challenge that Duran had just changed a little bit of the momentum, just enough where he could take a sigh of relief that I threw a strike, and then after that, it was lights out.
Do you think there was an element of atmosphere, nerves, or anything just with the intensity of the rivalry against LA? Or
I don't think so. Not with Mason. No, he's pretty dialed in as a person, and mentally tough as anybody we got. So it was just one of those, probably a little bit mechanical tweak. And Ruben went out there, talked to him, and then got a pitch call on the ABS, and after that, he was just fine.
What do you think of Michael King's night and the 7 shutout innings he was able to provide for you guys?
Yeah, one of the best games he's pitched as a Padre, I think. He was in control from the very beginning. A lot of punch outs early, and then hung on, made some great pitches at the end to get through 7.
A lot of things have to happen for a 1-0 game, like the defense, Duran's arm, the pitching. What did you just make of the kind of the way this game went?
Yeah, Duran gets a ton of credit, along with Michael King. Those two controlled the game, and Duran throwing those 2 runners out were huge, keeping Michael's pitch count down, gave him that extra inning. We got off to a lead early. That also helps. You feel like, even though it's 1-0, it's just a little bit better feeling than if it's 0-0, if you're down 1-0. Feel very good with Michael on the mound. Him and Duran are working well together. It was, pretty awesome to see. It was an old school shutout tonight.
You had more home warming. You stuck with Jason. You take us through that?
Yeah, stuck with Jason. I felt good about the matchups past at bats between Ohtani and Adam and Betts and Adam. kind of just went with my gut a little bit on that one, but also felt good about Jason's history against the Dodgers too. And I felt like I had Adrian ready for Freeman then after that. So a little bit of a roll of the dice, I guess, more than traditional, but felt really good with Jason out there on the mound against those hitters.
You guys haven't had many starters get into the seventh or work through the seventh. How big is that going forward to start to see some of that from the rotation?
Yeah, that was huge. If I remember, it's only the second time we've gotten somebody get all the way through the seventh. I think Randy did in Colorado. So, it just sets us up, the bullpen a little bit better as we go forward, and allows us to keep those guys fresh as possible. As we navigate the schedule of a 162 game season.
We've obviously seen a lot of impressive things from Mason this year, but his ability today to kind of hone it in when it wasn't there for those first 10, 11 pitches, like what does that maybe say to you about who he is as a competitor?
Yeah, you're right. Normally we see a pitcher kind of struggle throwing strikes, and he maybe picks it up a little bit, but not as the way that Mason did, where he just went from throwing a lot of balls to just throwing all strikes. So, that's a pretty big flip of the switch. It just talks about how mentally tough he is and his ability to move on to the next pitch and go one pitch at a time.
You mentioned maybe mechanical tweak. What was it? What did you see?
I have no idea. Throw it a little harder. I'm sure Ruben had something that he told him. He may not even said anything mechanical, but just the fact of, taking a little bit of breather, going out there, settle everybody down, allowed him to stop thinking about throwing strikes for a little bit and just go and compete.
Could I ask you a couple questions about Mason? What does it mean to have a player like that who can be your closer right now?
Yeah, it means a lot. It's very comforting to have him come in at the end of games, and you feel really good about how the game's going to end. Will he be perfect the entire season? I don't know. He's not. Humans aren't perfect, but sure, right now he's pretty good, and we feel good about him. No matter how it goes.
I mean, he's doing things right now that if it continued, he'd be doing things that no relief pitcher has ever done. Did you see that in him when you took over?
I think that's why AJ traded for him last year. We gave up a lot for Mason, and we felt really good about the player that we were getting in return and having control over him for a few years. And he's definitely lived up to the billing and been everything that we've wanted and needed with the Padres. Feel like he's carried on the tradition of the San Diego Padres closer, above and beyond.
If I ask you one follow-up on that, for people who are not familiar with him, I mean, he's getting publicity around the country, but it still could be more. What would you tell people who are not familiar with what his strengths are, why he's able to do what he's doing right now?
His number one attribute is that he's a great human being. He treats people with respect, is kind to everybody, gives them the time of day, that he doesn't have to do all the time. And I think just who he is as a person, how he treats his family, how he treats his teammates, is probably number one thing about him.
How much do you think just the workload, not that it's too much, but just he has been working a lot lately? Do you think that's affecting? There's been a lot less precision on his part.
Yeah, I think we were spoiled for the first month of the season at how electric he was and how he didn't miss a pitch for like a month, and so when he misses a pitch, we get a little worried. Or, like tonight, he walked two guys. But I think maybe something to do with it. Going 1+, throwing 33 pitches is not easy when you're not used to doing that, and especially that high intensive a situation, throwing that hard, it's not an easy thing to recover. He's doing everything behind the scenes that we could ever ask of him. And, it's our job to be very cognizant of keeping him healthy and not overusing him.
You expected Michael to be one of your top guys. You lost a couple of your other top guys. The fact that he appears to be ascending and keep doing that, how important is that to you? Because a team like you probably need a guy like that.
Yeah, I think that was the discussion in the offseason when Michael was a free agent and, deciding, we knew we needed starting pitching and wanted to sign someone. And Michael's at the top of our list because he has the potential to be an ace and can be an ace if he's healthy. And so far he's showed that this year. And, that's what have come to expect out of Michael. It's a hard thing to be an ace on a staff, but he showed so far that he's capable of being that guy for us.
How important is what Anduhar has done for you guys this season been?
Yeah, pretty amazing. He's kept us going offensively when we've had some people scuffling. And, every time he's swinging, it feels like he's hitting a line drive somewhere, whether it's at somebody or tonight over the fence and then one through the hole. So right now he's taking some of our best at-bats of anybody in our lineup and, been a catalyst for us being able to score runs and win some games.
Was there any thought at all about bringing Mason in the eighth for one batter?
Not today. Kevin just kind of articulated with his question of not trying to wear him out. We need this guy for the long haul. We need him for, we want him to have a long, illustrious career without injury. And so we've got to take care of him, not just for the Padres, but for him himself. And, part of that is not pitching him 1+ every single night.
Articulated. Very good.
Thank you. Can't spell it, but I can say it.
The line out by Tatis, it was the 50th hard hit out of the season for him, way in leading the league.
Yeah, he's a little frustrated, to say the least. And I think, the attention that he's getting, for struggling at the plate, everybody, we talk about the hard hits, but sometimes you say, well, that's tough luck. But, the ball he hit today in the first inning was about as hard hit as any ball we've had all year, and it's just going right at people. Eventually that's going to turn. I'm looking forward to when that does, because it's going to be a lot of fun.
Craig, Nick talks about the fact that you guys have been underperforming, or at least not performing the way you would like, at least offensively. Any thoughts on that? The fact that you're winning games still with your top guys performing the way you would like to?
Yeah, we've had a lot of guys do really well. Gavin Sheets was National League Player of the Week this week. So, our offense is getting better. It's continuing to get better. Yamamoto pitched a great game tonight. He's one of the best pitchers in all of baseball, if not one of the best, if the best. And he threw a great game tonight, mixed up his pitches really well. So we battled him as best we can. We hit a ton of line drives again tonight. I think that's kind of our goal as a team, is to lead the league in line drives. And one thing we cannot control is whether they go at somebody or if they hit a hole. And eventually we believe that they're going to hit a lot of holes.
Was Duran like a hidden gem for you guys, considering he was like 11 seasons in the minors and now it's like one of the greatest catchers you've ever seen, at least for today?
Yeah, you can see that. This was definitely a Rodolfo Duran game. If he'd have got that line drive to left field to fall in, he had couldn't have had a better game, honestly. He threw a couple guys out, caught a shutout. We feel really comfortable with him behind the plate. And you're right, a hidden gem. When we got him last year as a 6-year free agent, we didn't know a ton about him, and he just prove that he's, everything that we needed and wanted, from a guy that could be our third catcher. And right now he's doing a really good job, filling in for Campy and, handling the ace on our staff and shutting out, one of the best teams in all of baseball.
Is he leaning towards getting up in the depth chart at least?
I think we feel really good about all of our catchers. Freddie's been doing a great job. Campy's doing a great job before he got hurt. So, any three of those guys we could throw out there and feel really good about us trying to win a baseball game.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen following this 1-0 win for the Padres against the LA Dodgers here tonight at Petco Park. Sam Levitt back with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building as we continue our postgame coverage, brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. A lot to chew on there from Craig Stammen. We'll get to some of the bullpen elements. I thought it was actually really interesting in the 8th inning with Morahone warming up. I want to dive into that. We'll dive into what Mason Miller did in the 9th inning as he picks up his 15th save of the season here tonight. Shame on me. Shame on me. Seriously. Because before right now, and before you heard from Craig Stammen, I really didn't mention Rodolfo Duran and what he did here tonight and the impact that Duran had in this game. Threw out 2 runners trying to steal, Betts in the 1st inning, Ohtani in the 2nd inning, and Duran caught a shutout between King, Adam, and Miller. And he was behind the plate for Michael King's best start of the season. And Craig said it, and I agree. I said it earlier. I think one of Michael King's best starts as a Padre. Absolutely, especially regular season-wise. He had that amazing start against Atlanta in the postseason. But as far as regular season, this was about as good as we have seen Michael King. And that's saying something because he's had a lot of good starts in a few seasons as a Padre. So this was terrific here tonight. But you have got to give a lot of credit to Rodolfo Duran. This great story for the Padres. His first hit the other day in Seattle, first major league hit, a home run. We've talked about his background, 11 years in the minor leagues. He grinded his way through. Finally, because of the injury to Campusano, gets an opportunity, and he's running with it. I know, he hasn't, had a ton of luck offensively. He's come close to hitting more home runs. He had Julio Rodriguez steal that home run the other day in Seattle. So he could very well have 2-3 home runs already. He has 1, but I'll tell you what he's doing behind the plate and what he's doing throwing out runners, it's really, really impressive. And just add Rodolfo Duran to the list of guys that are contributing for this team. Why they're 29-18 now. mean, add him to the list. We continue to talk about Anduhar and Sheets and France and Castellanos. Add Duran to the list. I mean, now he's come up and he's making an impact. And he certainly, despite not having a hit in this game, he certainly made a big impact on this game. When you talk about the caught stealings, when you talk about catching a shutout here tonight. So again, shame on me. I should have mentioned him earlier, and that's a great job by Craig Stammen pointing out Rodolfo Duran and the impact that Duran had in this win here tonight as the Padres win it 1-0. And I want to say one more thing, because look, and I've been guilty of it too. I do feel like throughout what has been a really, really great start to this season through, about a month and a half now, we're going towards 2 months. I feel like on one hand, we've given this team a ton of flowers, and rightfully so. They have found a way, despite their stars struggling to hit, and for the most part, that continued here tonight. We've given them flowers for how they've navigated through injuries. Nick Pivetta being out for a while. Joe Musgrove isn't back. Both those guys are going to be out still for a while longer. They have just figured it out, and we've kind of paired that thought with the potential flip side and sort of the caveat of, well, hey, this isn't going to last forever. They're going to need these guys to get going, the stars. And I do think there is certainly an element of truth in that. Certainly. I think Merrill, Machado, Tatis, when you talk about a 162 game season and going where the Padres ultimately want to go, they're going to need those guys to contribute in a bigger way. I think that's an absolute. But I'm going to try pregame, postgame over the next handful of days, handful of weeks, as long as this team continues to find ways to win. At some point, I'm not talking about what they aren't. I'm talking about what they are. I mean, this team just finds ways. You want to talk about a team effort night in, night out. And tonight, it was a little bit different than what they did in Seattle, where the offense showed up in a big way on Saturday and Sunday. And you had the Gavin Sheets game yesterday, and you had the home runs all over the place on Saturday. I mean, tonight, this was about the bullpen and Michael King, but then the bullpen saying, all right, we got your one run against this great lineup. We're going to go bring it home. And that's what they did here tonight between King, Adam, and Miller. And we'll dive more into Miller because that was kind of a fascinating ninth inning for Mason Miller. Really the kind of inning we haven't seen from him and his dominance here in 2026. But I'm going to make that pledge to you that, at least for the time being, while they continue to play like this, I'm going to really try to focus on what this team is, not what it isn't. What they are is, to this point in the season, a gritty, gutsy team that is just finding ways. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about the wins and losses for the San Diego Padres. It's not about what individual players are doing. It's about the wins and losses for the San Diego Padres. And to this point in the season, they have done a remarkable job at battling through all these different elements and coming out in first place tonight in the National League West. Now, with all that said, it's mid-May. We've got a long, long way to go. But to this point in the season, now 47 games in, you cannot say enough about what they have been as a collective, as a team, as a unit, from rotation to bullpen to all these role players, all these guys that have continued to step up. And you know what? I shouldn't call them role players because Anduhar's playing every day. Sheets is playing every day. I shouldn't call them role players. But all these different players, what they're doing on a night in, night out basis to help this team win ball games. It's been remarkable. And so they get another really memorable win here tonight as they beat the Dodgers 1-0. When we come back, we'll talk more about Mason Miller. If you want to get a phone call in, 833-288-0973. Phone number to call, again, 833-288-0973. Phone number to dial if you want to get involved. We have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up a little bit later as well. Like in the final here tonight at Petco Park, Padres 1 and the Dodgers 0. Our post-game coverage continues after this.
Woodsy here. Your water is hard. Your life.
Padres win it on this Monday night, 1-0 against the LA Dodgers. Sam Levitt back with you on our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show here on the Padres Radio Network. I always love when the Spice Girls welcome us back in from break. It's always a great vibe, the Spice Girls here in 2026 as the Padres win it 1-0. They've won 4 in a row. And they have jumped into first place in the National League West. We'll see if the Padres can keep it rolling tomorrow in the middle game of this series. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. Phone number to call, 833-288-0973. Again, 833-288-0973. The phone number, we will get to some of your phone calls coming up in just a few minutes, so stay tuned for that. But first, let's tell you about tonight's relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game, brought to you by San Diego criminal defense attorney David P. Shapiro. We help good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. Learn more at davidpshapirolaw.com.
Our relief pitcher of the game here tonight, well, we got two options, and both guys honestly had very similar outings. Jason Adam in the 8th inning, Mason Miller in the 9th inning. Adam got into trouble, had runners on first and third, 2 men away, got out of it, got the game to the 9th inning with the Padres still leading 1-0, and then Mason Miller, and we'll talk about it here because he'll be our relief pitcher of the game here tonight. Mason Miller, I thought, had just a fascinating outing, in one kind of outing we have not seen from him. When he came in, that was as all over the place as we have seen Mason Miller, certainly this season. I might say as a Padre, at least for a span of a couple of batters. I mean, he was all over the place to Freddie Freeman and Kyle Tucker. All over the place. And it made you a little nervous because, look, sometimes even when you are as great as Mason Miller is, there can be nights, and we've seen it many, many times, there can be nights where you just don't have it, where you just don't have the command at all. And I'll be honest with you, when Mason started that inning and he was missing the way he was missing, I thought to myself, uh-oh. It's not even about can the Dodgers hit him. Mason, this command's all over the place, and maybe this is just going to be one of those nights. But you look at what he did after that. I mean, Mason dialed it in, and he found that command just in time. He then gets the fly out from Smith after he gets ahead of him 1-2. He gets ahead 0-2 on Max Muncy, strikes him out, gets ahead 0-2 on Pajes, and gets him to ground out to end the game. Ball game over. Padres win. Mason Miller picks up his 15th save of the season. That was a tremendous job by Mason Miller in the middle of an inning when he clearly at the start of the inning did not have the command, did not have the feel. He found it. I mean, it was remarkable to see him find it like that mid-inning. I don't know how many other guys can do that. So Mason Miller deserves a ton of credit because that could have totally unraveled. And Mason said, no. Found the command, dialed it in, and after he walked 2 in a row to start the inning, he then retired 3 in a row to end the game. 15 for 15 in save opportunities. Mason Miller's ERA is down to 0.82 on the season as he continues just this amazing start to 2026. Let's tell you about the Padres' heart of the order.
Let's take the pulse of the Padres and check in on the Heart of the Order, presented by Palomar Health, the official healthcare provider of 97.3 The Fan. Palomar Health, leading with heart for every patient. Palomar Health is reimagining healthcare.
Heart of the order here tonight for the Padres. 3, 4, 5 spots. Pretty quiet, but hey, they just needed the Anduhar home run. Sheets went 0 for 3. Manny went 0 for 2 with a walk-in. Xander Bogaerts went 1 for 3 with an infield single. So not a particularly productive night for the Heart of the order, but hey, wasn't a productive night for anybody aside from Miguel Anduhar for either team. So quiet night for the Heart of the order, but hey, didn't matter here tonight. And that's a look at what the Padres' Heart of the order. Sheets, Machado, Bogaerts. They had one infield single. between them in this 1-0 win. All right, let's get to some phone calls here. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Phone number to dial. Let's go to Eric calling in on line 1. Eric, you lead us off on this Monday night on the Padres Radio Network. Welcome in.
Hey, Sam. Awesome. Hey, great win by the Padres. 1-0. Michael King was his best pitching performance of the season, and like you alluded to earlier, probably best pitching performance as a Padre. And good thing, because if it would have been 1-0 LA, we'd be talking about something totally different, like the heart of the order, Tatis, Manny, stuff like that.
Totally.
Another thing, great job for Michael King and everybody else. Dodgers are 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. I think that was huge. And yeah, let's keep the momentum going into tomorrow and Wednesday, Sam. Go Padres.
All right, Eric, good phone call. I agree with you. Great job by Michael King. They did a great job when the Dodgers had threats. Again, the Dodgers, like you said, 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. They did a great job in this game. And look, you're right. If the shoe was on the other foot and the Dodgers, let's say, had an early home run against Michael King and the Padres, didn't score tonight, look, I think on one hand you would say, well, it's Yamamoto and you got to tip your cap in a sense, but I think you would also say, man, really quiet night from the offense, and you got to find a way to scratch across a run or two to win this game when you get the kind of pitching they got. I'm not even going to get down that road because that's an alternate reality. It did not happen. Padres won it 1-0. And hey, from a Dodger standpoint, a very frustrating offensive night, especially when you consider the opportunities they had in the last 3 innings. Wouldn't have taken a whole lot to win this game. If you're the Dodgers, you needed essentially a hit or two in those spots to win the game if the Padres only scored the 1 run. But hey, Padres will take it. Let's go to Cade on line 2. Cade, you're on our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show with Sam Levitt. Welcome in.
Hey, Sam. Pod Tot, winners of 4 straight. It's great to see. However, what goes down when we're at the All-Star break and half of our hitters are hitting at the Mendoza line? It's a bit concerning as of right now. Just as a fan, obviously the pen has been holding up nicely, and we're getting great starting pitching out of Randy and Michael. But at what point are you starting to become a little concerned that the heart of the order isn't hitting for power or average?
Yeah, look, Cade, it's a totally fair point, and appreciate the phone call. Look, it's a tough line to straddle right now. And I said it after Craig Stammen's post-game press conference. I made the pledge to you that I'm going to really, really try to focus on what this team is right now and not what they aren't. I think I'm going to try to do that in fairness to them because I think they're earning it with each passing day. Now, that's what my heart says. My brain agrees with you. My brain says it is May 18th. My brain says eventually it is going to become very, very important that the stars play like stars. Baseball over the course of 162 would tell us that. It's not a guarantee, but typically baseball, the history of it, how this usually works over the course of a long year, would tell us that. You know what, Cade? Here's my answer for you tonight. And again, this is going to go back to my pledge a little bit earlier. I'm really going to try to not focus on it while they're winning. Hey, they start losing and things are going south, then yeah, we're going to have to Merrill, Manny, Tatis are not performing at a better level. Yeah, I mean, we're going to focus on it, obviously. But right here, right now, they're winning. And as long as they keep winning, that's all I care about. That's all I think you should care about as a Padre fan. I'm not telling you how to fan, but that's what it's about at the end of the day. I'm not saying it's not going to matter. I think it will. And it's mid-May, and it's we are just towards the, we are still in the very early part of the marathon. It is May. But for right here, right now, as long as they keep winning as a team, I'm going to really try to focus on what they are and not what they are not. But yeah, I think baseball would tell us over the course of a long year, it's going to matter what those guys do. And hopefully the best case scenario right now is that when those guys get going, this thing takes off in an even bigger way based on who they've been so far. All right, let's squeeze in one more phone call. Let's go to a very loyal listener, Kathy, calling in. Kathy, you're on the Padres Radio Network. Kathy, what's up?
Hey, Sammy, I can remember when we traded prospects for Mason Miller last year and how upset everybody was. And I think we got a really good deal for Mason Miller, and I'm so happy that we got him and what he's turned out to be just even this early into the season.
Yeah.
Because that kid is so amazing. And just to watch him, I mean, obviously living in LA, I work with a bunch of Dodger fans, and they're just like, telling me it's absolutely unbelievable just to watch him pitch. And they were just kind of like nervous, telling me how nervous they were to go up against him tonight.
Yeah. Kathy, appreciate the phone call. Thank you for listening as always. Look, we'll litigate the trade in years to come. Leo DeVries could end up being a future Hall of Famer, could be an all-star. He also very well may be none of those things. I don't know. I mean, looks very good in the minor leagues. There have been a lot of guys that have looked very good in the minor leagues. Look, here's what we know right now from that trade is that the Mason Miller part of it has been everything you could have hoped for and more. He has been everything you thought you were getting, and to me, even more. I mean, he has been as good as it gets in the bullpen. He has been as dominant can be. So to this point, from that standpoint, yeah, I mean, it's been a total win for the Padres. And what Leo DeVries ends up being, what he's not, I mean, we'll figure that out. We're going to, have more of that answer in like 10 years. So for right now, here's what I can tell you. Here's what I can guarantee. And Mason's under control for a long time, and he's going to be a Padre for a long time. But so far, yeah, I mean, he has been even more than what you could have imagined. So it's been a lot of fun to watch, and credit to Mason Miller. I want to say one more thing, and somebody pointed it out in the YouTube chat, and I feel like I got to go apologize to Rodolfo Duran tomorrow because I feel like I'm not giving him enough shine tonight. Somebody in the chat made a good point. I was talking about Duran a little bit earlier and how good he was at throwing out runners tonight and working with the pitching staff. Another thing I should say, and thank you to, I want to make sure I give you credit. Now I can't find it. Matt in the YouTube chat. I was looking for a second. Matt saying, talking about an overturned call. Duran was also great tonight on the ABS challenges. He was awesome tonight on the ABS challenges, including a big one in that 9th inning as well. So great job by Duran in all those facets here tonight, and the Padres win it 1-0. When we come back, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, wrap things up, get you ready for the middle game of this series tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network.
KWFN and KWFN.
Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as the Padres win it 1-0 against the Dodgers here tonight. You know, I talked about the Spice Girls earlier when we heard them on our bumper music coming back from break, and I guess I'm alone in my my adoration for the Spice Girls, because I had a lot of people in the YouTube chat and on social media saying, "Oh, we don't want to hear, we don't like the Spice Girls." Like, I like the Spice Girls. Great vibe coming back. You had Rihanna there. You know what? Here's a little a little note for anybody out there critical of the music on the pre and post game coverage. I do pick the music, you should know that. And also, I'm here a lot, and it's important that my vibes remain high, and the music helps my vibes remain high. And I think that's great for us all. Padres win it tonight, 1-0 against the Dodgers. What a ball game. If you missed my post-game conversation with Miguel Anduhar, we'll replay it for you in just a second. We'll also have our play of the game in a moment as well. But first, let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
Everything has gone final on this Monday night. Marlins beat up on the Braves in Miami today, 12-0. The Rays beat the Orioles 16-6 in Tampa Bay. Junior Caminero hit his 13th home run of the season in that game for Tampa Bay. The Guardians beat the Tigers 8-2 in Detroit. A big swing for Jose Ramirez.
He delivers a swing and a drive to deep left field, away, back and gone. Jose Ramirez makes it 8-2 Cleveland. A line drive home run into the seats and left.
The great Tom Hamilton on the call on Guardians Radio. Jose Ramirez's 8th home run of the season. Guardians win it in Detroit 8-2. The Mets beat up on the Nationals in the 10th inning, the 12th inning in particular. They beat the Nats in 12, 16-7. The Mets scored 10 runs in the top of the 12th inning as they win it 16-7. How about that? Yankees beat the Blue Jays 7-6 in New York. Jazz Chisholm Jr. hit a go-ahead 2-run home run in the 7th inning in that game. Red Sox beat the Royals 3-1 in Kansas City. Wilson Contreras a home run for the Red Sox, and that one is 9th home run of the season. Twins beat the Astros 6-3 in Minnesota. In Philadelphia tonight, the Reds led 4-3 in the 8th inning, but not for long.
And it's swung on, hit high in the air, right field. Pretty deep. Steer going back to the track, looking up, and it is gone! Bryson Stott has turned the game around with a 2-run home run. Down the line and right, a towering fly ball that just kept going. And the Phillies have come back to take a 5-4 lead.
That call from Phillies radio, Bryson Stott, a go-ahead 2-run home run in the 8th inning. Phillies go on to win the game 5-4. Brewers beat the Cubs in Chicago 9-3. Christian Yelich, Jake Bauers hit home runs in that game for Milwaukee. Rockies beat the Rangers 7-6 in Colorado. Angels beat the A's 2-1 in Anaheim. Mariners over the White Sox 6-1 in Seattle. And finally, Diamondbacks beat the Giants 12-2 tonight in Arizona. Nolan Arenado, his 7th home run of the season for the Snakes in that one. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Monday evening. Padres win it 1-0 in San Diego here tonight against the Dodgers. Our play of the game, well, it had to be the lone run of the game. Let's hear it.
One bounce, one hit, one pitch can be the difference between victory and defeat. What was the most important play in today's game? This is today's play of the game. Presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating and Air, Restoration and Flood. We know how.
And Anduhar hits it in the air deep to left field. Hernandez backing up. He's at the wall. This one, gonna go! Miguel Anduhar with his 4th of the year. And the Padres take a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the first.
Miguel Anduhar, the solo home run, second batter that Yoshinobu Yamamoto faced in this game. He got a 2-2 splitter. He hammered it to left, gave the Padres a 1-0 lead. And then the pitching for the Padres tonight, the rest of the story, Michael King, 7 shutout innings. Jason Adam, Mason Miller working at a big-time jams in the 8th and the 9th. The Padres win this series opener. They jump ahead of the Dodgers and move into first place in the National League West. I caught up with Miguel Anduhar right after tonight's big win.
Well, Miguel, the Padres got 1 run tonight. You provided it against Yoshinobu Yamamoto. How were you able to get such a good swing against Yamamoto in the first inning?
I mean, it was good, like take this swing. I got this guy, like one of the best pitchers in the league. So I think thank God for that.
He threw you a splitter on 2-2. Were you looking for it?
I mean, no, but thank God, I was seeing for something like in the middle and try to hit the ball hard.
Michael King, what a performance. 7 shutout innings. He was terrific. What was it like watching Michael from the dugout tonight?
I mean, it was amazing, like throw 7 innings against the very good team like the Dodgers, It's amazing for us, I think everybody in the bullpen did a really good job today.
The Dodgers had some threats in the late innings. Jason able to get out of a big jam. Mason able to get out of a huge jam. What's it like when those guys are doing what they're doing out of the bullpen?
I mean, it was good. Fun to watch. I think that's why, they one of the best bullpen in the league. So, I mean, that's good for the team, try to help the team win games.
I know it's only the middle of May, but this is a big series against the Dodgers. What's the significance of starting this series with a win?
I mean, it's fun, playing against the Dodgers is fun, like the energy is fun, team, try to keep winning.
Miguel, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
That was Miguel Anduhar right after tonight's 1-0 win for the Padres against the Dodgers. So what's next? Game 2 of this 3-game series. Pitching matchup tomorrow. Right-hander Emmett Sheehan on the mound for the Dodgers. Right-hander Griffin Canning on the mound for the Padres. First pitch tomorrow, 6:40 p.m. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show will begin at 5:40. As always, if you missed any portion of our postgame coverage here tonight, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast feed, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcast. You can also go back on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel and watch any portion of our postgame coverage there as well. Taking a look at the final totals here tonight for the Padres. 1 run, 4 hits, 1 error. They left on 4. For the Dodgers, no runs, 5 hits, no errors. They left on 7. Dodgers also went 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. Winning pitcher tonight, Michael King. 7 shutout innings. He improves to 4-2. Losing pitcher, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who drops to 3-4, and Mason Miller picks up his 15th save of the season. He is now 15 for 15, still perfect in save opportunities. Time of game, 2 hours and 18 minutes in the crowd at Petco Park, the 19th sellout of the 2026 season. In this building, 40,882. Once again, first pitch tomorrow, 6:40 p.m. Our pregame coverage begins at 5:40. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Jeff Hamby, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long and good night from Petco Park. Again, the final score here tonight, the San Diego Padres 1 and the LA Dodgers 0. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great night, everybody.